Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about something revolutionary, a whole new way to think about where our health really comes from. And spoiler alert, it's not just about germs or genes. It's actually a story that starts way before we're born and keeps unfolding over our entire lives.
All right, so let's just jump in with a huge question, one that kind of flips what most of us have been taught about being healthy on its head. For decades, we've basically viewed the human body as a machine, right? When a part breaks, you take it to the mechanic, the doctor, and they fix that specific broken part. But what if that's just not the whole picture? What if health isn't something we just repair? What if it's something we build?
Yeah, this whole explainer is really about a massive shift in thinking. We're moving away from that old, kind of simple cause and effect idea. One germ causes one disease. Easy. Instead, we're embracing a totally new perspective, that health is a developmental process. It's this complex system of interactions that's constantly building and changing throughout our entire lives.
Okay, so let's dive into that. To really get the new idea, we first have to understand the old map of health, the one that pretty much dominated for over a century. And look, it was powerful for sure, but it also had some pretty serious blind spots.
And this was it, the biomedical model. This is the model that gave us antibiotics, life-saving surgeries. It saved countless lives by treating the body like a complex machine with individual replaceable parts. In this world, health was just the absence of a broken part, the absence of disease. It was absolutely revolutionary for its time, but it treated every single illness as its own separate problem to be solved in a vacuum.
But, this whole mechanical view left some major puzzles on the table. Like, why do things that happen to you in childhood end up affecting your risk for heart disease 50 years down the road? Or how does stress, that feeling, how does it literally get under our skin and change our biology? The old model just couldn't explain it. It couldn't explain the long, long shadow that our early lives cast over our future health.
So, how do we even begin to answer those huge questions? Well, we need a new map. A much more comprehensive way of seeing how health is actually built over a lifetime.
And you can see here our understanding has really evolved. We started with the purely mechanical biomedical model. Then, around the mid-20th century, we got the biopsychosocial model, which brought our behaviors and social lives into the mix. But now in the 21st century, we've got the Life Course Health Development Model, or LCHD, let's just call it that. And this isn't just a simple update, it's like a whole new operating system. It sees health as this complex, adaptive process that's unfolding over time.
So LCHD is our new map. It's this framework that pulls together insights from biology, psychology, sociology, you name it, all to ask one central question: how does health develop? It stops seeing health as a static thing. You're either sick or you're healthy, and starts seeing it as a dynamic story, one that's shaped by literally everything we experience.
And this quote really gets to the heart of it. We're trading those simple, comforting, straight-line answers for what it calls an uncomfortable uncertainty. And why? Because that's where the real story of our health is. It's not in a straight line from A to B. It's in this messy, complicated web of interconnected influences.
Okay, so if this is our new map, what are the rules of the road? Well, the LCHD framework is built on 7 core principles that really help us navigate all this complexity.
Think of these 7 as the key ingredients. When you put them all together, they give us this powerful new lens to see how our health trajectories get shaped. We got health development, unfolding, complexity, timing, plasticity, thriving, and harmony. So let's break down what a few of the big ones really mean. All right, so the first 2 principles, health development and unfolding, are honestly revolutionary. They basically say that health and development aren't 2 different things. Nope, they are one and the same single process. Your health today is literally built on the foundation of your health yesterday, and it's creating the foundation for your health tomorrow. It's all one continuous story.
Now this one, the principle of timing, is absolutely crucial. It tells us that in the story of our health, when something happens is just as important as what happens. Think about it. An experience like high stress or poor nutrition during a really sensitive period in early childhood can have a way bigger, more lasting impact than that exact same experience in adulthood. The timing really sets the stage for everything that comes next.
And this is where it all comes together as a system. Our health isn't just one thing, it's what emerges from all these complex interactions. Our biology isn't set in stone, it's plastic, meaning it's always being shaped by the world around us. And optimal health, what they call harmony, is what we get when there's a really good fit between our internal biology and our external environment.
So, here's the kicker. The whole point of all this isn't just to avoid getting sick. The ultimate goal is thriving. This framework sees health as a resource, like an asset that lets us live flourishing lives, chase our goals, and reach our full potential. It's not about dodging bullets. It's about building the capacity to thrive.
Okay, so now let's zoom out a bit and see how this whole framework connects our inner biology to the big, wide world around us. Because, let's be real, we don't develop in a vacuum.
It turns out our health is shaped by this constant back and forth across 3 interconnected levels. At the very top, you've got the supra-individual. That's the society, the culture, the economy you live in. Then there's the individual level, your personal choices, your education, your social status. And then finally, the inner individual level, your unique genetics and biology. And the key is, these levels are always talking to each other.
So, how in the world does the societal level talk to your biology? Well, one of the main ways is through something called epigenetics. This is a super fascinating field that's showing how our environment basically acts like a set of light switches on our genes, turning them on or off. So think of it this way. Maybe chronic stress in childhood doesn't change your actual DNA, but it can flip a switch that makes a gene related to anxiety more active for the rest of your life. It's literally how the outside world gets under our skin.
This is the biological proof of the whole LCHD framework. Our social world, things like stress, nutrition, social support, it doesn't change our DNA sequence, but it can absolutely change which parts of our DNA are actually switched on and active. And those changes can then go on to shape our health for the rest of our lives, and in some cases can even be passed down to the next generation.
Okay, so what does this all mean in the real world? What are the big takeaways? Why does it actually matter if we swap out our old map for this new one?
Well, looking at health this way, it changes everything. It tells us that the absolute best time to invest in a healthy life is way back in early childhood. It shows us we can't separate medicine from public health. A doctor's office and a city park are both places where health is created. And it forces us to look beyond just individual choices and see how our social and environmental structures are shaping health for all of us, from our very cells all the way up to our entire society.
Ultimately, this framework is incredibly empowering, isn't it? It shows us that our health story isn't some predetermined fate that's just written in our genes. Not at all. It's a dynamic story that's still being written by our biology, by our choices, and by the world we all live in. And that leaves us with a final, really powerful question to think about. What can we do, as individuals and as a society, to help write better, healthier stories for everyone?